Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Sheila. I'm a naturopath working here in Toronto, and today I want to talk about something that, oh my God, every one of my patients hears me talk nonstop about protein. So what is protein? Why do you need it? Why do I talk so much about it to all of my patients? That's what I'm going to cover in this video. So big picture, what is protein? So protein is something that we call a macronutrient. So instead of the micronutrients, which is like the vitamins and minerals that we care about, macronutrients are the big molecules, protein, fat, and carbs that make up the food that we eat and make up the nutrients and the fuel that we consume. So that's what protein is. Kind of on the smaller level, it gets broken down into amino acids, and that's what we use to build all the proteins in our body. So that's what protein is. Why? Why do we care? What are the 5 benefits of having enough protein? So protein is everywhere in our body. There's literally nothing that protein doesn't do. This is where I start to get really excited, and maybe I need to tone it down just a little bit. So I'm going to start with some things that maybe you didn't know of. So maybe you knew that protein helps you build muscle, right? I have lots of patients who are like, oh, I don't want to take a protein powder because I'm not working out that much. So a lot of people associate protein with the gym. It goes so much further than that. Protein is everywhere. So from the tips of your hair to the skin on your body to your hormone health, your mental health, your immune health, there's really not one part of your system that isn't touched by protein. So one of the things I mentioned was your hormones. So a lot of your hormones are made of something called cholesterol, which you've probably heard of. So that's more so like your sex hormones. But there's a lot of other hormones that are pretty heavy lifters in terms of your well-being that are made out of protein. So things like insulin's made out of protein. And then if we even go one step beyond hormones, then we get to the neurotransmitters, which maybe neurotransmitter doesn't mean anything to you, but I bet you the word serotonin means something to you, or dopamine, right? So these neurotransmitters are in your brain, and they're affecting how you feel, how's your mood, how's your mental health. So if you come into my office and you tell me that you're having some mental health concerns, I'm going to tell you to eat more protein. If you come in and you tell me, honestly, I'm always going to tell you to have more protein. It's without a doubt, everyone gets the same advice. So hormones made out of protein, that's a really, really important thing that protein does. What about kind of how your body makes things happen on a biochemical level? So I'm talking about thousands, millions, trillions of different interactions or connections that are being made in the body that rely on enzymes. So usually kind of 1 + 1 = 2 with the help of an enzyme, and that enzyme is vital. Without the enzyme, the reaction won't take place. So this is another way in which proteins just reign supreme. We rely on them for all the enzymatic reactions that happen in the body, which are everywhere. So I'll give you an example. So how we digest our food relies on our digestive enzymes. Protein. That's what those enzymes are. So number 3, it's tissue repair. So our bodies are usually always trying to be in a state of equilibrium, right? We're always trying to balance in versus out, repair versus damage. We're always trying to find that balance. So protein works the exact same way. We're trying to only take in as much protein as we need in order to repair our tissues. When does that kind of get out of balance? Maybe when we're sick. We actually need more protein. Maybe when we're pregnant and breastfeeding, we need more protein. maybe a natural kind of degradation when we get older, which cuts down on our muscle mass, requires us to eat more protein to help us out. I'm going to add one more thing to this because it affects all of us, is that when you're in a high stress situation, which most of us are chronically a lot of the time these days, your body also needs more protein. So when we're really stressed, we burn through our protein more than we would if we weren't stressed. So tissue repair, making hormones, the beautiful enzymes that make our bodies work. Another one that maybe you've never thought of is kind of fluid balance. So you've all heard that we're 70% water. Well, we have to be able to govern where that fluid goes. So basically it's how much fluid is in our cells, how much fluid is just outside our cells, and how much fluid is in our blood. And all of this is vital. All of this relies on protein. So if you don't have enough protein, one of the things that you can see is swelling, because fluid is not being held to that protein. So it's allowed to go, and it's allowed to cause swelling that you don't really want. So fluid balance, which you've never thought of, which I've just told you about. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about cell structure. So what gives us a sense of structure? Our cell structure, our hair structure, a really good way to think about this is I see a lot of patients who are concerned about skin health. And there's a lot of buzzwords that maybe you've read on labels in terms of kind of anti-aging or whatever skin product you're looking at. You might see collagen, keratin, elastin. All of these are proteins. Collagen is the most plentiful protein in our bodies, and it's in our skin, hair, nails, tendons, ligaments. It's everywhere. So that containing that structure is another way that proteins really show up. So those are kind of like just a tip of the iceberg, but I can't talk to you for a day about protein. Well, I could definitely talk to you for a day about protein, but I just want to briefly mention a few other things that are always in the back of my mind when I'm telling people to eat more protein. And one of them is just the simple energy we get from protein. So when you burn a calorie, or if you burn a gram of protein, you get 4 calories of energy. You don't have to worry about any of those numbers, but what you probably already know intuitively or even have been taught in other places is that protein equals energy. If we have a high protein meal, we have more energy to use. A lot of my patients are struggling with fatigue. Are they eating enough protein? And generally, I always want to push people further. Sure, they're having a little bit of protein here and there, but it's not the focus of what they're doing, right? You're eating because it's easy, or you're eating because it's what the rest of your family likes to eat. I'm going to drive you towards eating the protein that you need in order to feel optimally healthy. And oftentimes the numbers that I'm aiming for my patients, it's higher than they've ever gone before. So it takes a lot of work and a little bit of a kind of a mindset to be like, okay, protein's not just a little bit important, it's all important. It is the thing that I'm going to plan the rest of my meal around, right? So just to give you a few numbers that I work with, 1.2 grams per kilogram. So how many kilograms do you weigh? Do you 60 kilograms? Then you want to shoot for above and beyond 60 grams of protein a day. What does that really look like? So 3/4 of a cup of Greek yogurt, which is the high protein, good quality yogurt, gives you 18 grams. Versus, let's say you're eating cereal, you're only going to be getting maybe 5 grams. So you want to make some choices in your life where you're actually shooting for those higher numbers. It's not that complicated. You just have to learn it. And that's what I'm here for, is to help you learn. What choices do I have to make in order for me to get the number of grams of protein that I need in order to feel awesome? So enough energy to get through your day, to be as energized and optimal as you want to be. And effective, right? Like effective in the gym, effective at work, effective in the home, right? So I can't not speak about immune health, especially we're in the cold and flu season of the year. Everyone needs a little something extra to help them out through this season. Protein is like the low-hanging fruit. Protein is the building blocks of your immune system, so take care of it. Just take care of it. There's all these fancy herbs, there's lots of minerals, there's lots that we can do for your immune health, but this is as basic as it gets. So this is it. Have enough protein, get some vitamin D, obviously, but like this is really the most simple and effective way that you can take care of your immune system. So lastly, because often my patients are trying to manage some weight gain or manage weight loss or manage a healthy weight, protein is key. Protein keeps you full for longer and keeps you satiated. So you want to, any good weight management plan requires adequate protein. You have to do it. So I've talked a lot about kind of all the reasons why I get so excited about protein. What are the sources? And do you have to eat meat? Absolutely not. All right. I have a long history of being plant-based, and so I have a lot of knowledge in this area. I will help guide you to vegetarian sources of protein. So Greek yogurt, I've mentioned, cottage cheese, eggs, and then different kinds of meat, obvious. But maybe you're not thinking about fish. Maybe you should be thinking about fish. In terms of plant-based protein, are you eating tofu? If not, why not? You're missing such a golden kind of plant-based protein for yourself. So go out, get some tofu, add it in. And then last but not least, it's nuts and seeds, which it's all over the literature in terms of part of a healthy diet is got nuts and seeds in it about 4 times a week. So let's add in a few handfuls of nuts as a healthy snack. And then we come to the legumes, the lentils, the chickpeas of it all. And that one, I swear to God, we'll have a whole other conversation about it because that's going to tie into your digestion and how it feels. I hope I just kind of whet your appetite to maybe come and talk to me about protein, because I could talk to you for a long time about how this works and making it work for you. How are we going to make getting enough protein? What is that going to look like in your own life? So I wouldn't worry too much about not having too much protein. Honest to God, it's so rare. Yes, it's a thing. We're not going to worry about it because what I see in my office time after time is people not getting enough. So come on in, talk to me. Clearly, I'm passionate about this conversation, and I'd love to help you get enough protein in your diet.